got a great mix. We've got diversity here. So what I'm going to do is ask each of you to just warm up and open up and tell us that looking at a company that has a portfolio that is so diverse and has brands that have been around, like you said, for over a century, how have you managed to remain young, not in today's digital age? And this conversation of digital versus traditional is a very fashionable conversation to have, but it's not just about that. It's about how have you always remained digital?
Very interesting. So Dabur, 125 years old. I've only been there 5 years out of that, so can't claim anything out of that. But the fact is that if I look at the brand architecture of Dabur, Dabur is traditionally has been seen as something which is more homely brand, more Ayurvedic brand, a Jadi Booty brand. In the last 2-3 years, I think what the marketing team of Dabur has tried to do is to basically make the brand very modern, to make it more in line with the current consumer, make it more youthful, etc., etc. In fact, what I got somebody to do, if you're okay, I got somebody to just make a small 40-seconder of how our traditional advertising has been 50 years back and what it is. It's something we use in many conferences, so if Sasha can just show it. Yes, there are challenges, but I think there are ways to make your brands modern while retaining the core equity.
Anika?
So I'll take a very different context from Sanjay. He's got a 100-year-old brand and he's trying to reinvent it. We have a 6-year-old brand, but we are in a category which is insurance, which is traditionally never going to appeal to the youth. So you talk insurance and the youth go, oh, I don't want to talk about it. So how do you as a brand then stay relevant to the youth? So I think the two things that we did as Max Bupa, and we were probably the pioneers in the industry when we came in, was we overinvested. So we took a stance and said that my consumer may not be 28-year-olds today, but I will still talk to the 28-year-old and convert him when he's probably 32, 33. And that takes courage as a brand. So I think that's the one investment that we've made as a brand, to say that we should invest in this new age consumer and get him into the category and make the category relevant to him, and then the brand automatically becomes relevant. I think the other thing that's important also is to look at the entire customer life cycle and say that, yes, we're talking of new age consumers, we're talking of younger population, we're saying, how do I engage the 23-year-old? Do I get into conversations which are relevant for him? But how do I hold him on then? This 23-year-old today that I get, what do I have to offer to him at the age of 30? What do I have to offer to him at the age of 40? So I think that whole customer life cycle with a brand is becoming far more relevant. So the old brand principles of customer lifetime value, of building your brand on innovation and differentiation, I think still hold true. And that's what we believe at Max Bupa, and that's what we've done and invested in.
So, like you said, Naukri is now almost 18 years old. So we started life as a company when there was no Google. So that's how old we are in the internet space. Just to give you a perspective, of course, nothing compared to Dabur, but in the internet space, 18 years is very old. Now, I'm not a marketing professional, but so I do understand and appreciate all these views on messaging, on communication, on targeting. But I think what is important, and especially in the internet space, where people can experience your product every day, where they know what happened as a result of their experience. If you put you can see the job, whether there's a job on Naukri for you or not, right? And you know whether, and within a second or within a minute, you will know whether the site is relevant for you. It's very easy to measure and to sort of see what's happening on the internet. So I think it's very, very important for the product or service to stay relevant to whichever consumer you're targeting, right? And what does it mean on Naukri? It means does Naukri have a job for you? It's as simple as that. So if you do a search on Naukri today for your skill set, how many jobs do you get today? Right? As long as we are able to show you jobs which are relevant for you, as long as we're able to personalize the service for you, you will still feel that Naukri is for me. And that's always our endeavor. And I think that's half the battle won as far as an online sort of service is concerned. The other thing, of course, which is important is that from a brand perspective, that the brand is not just about marketing, it's not just about advertising. It's about the experience the customer has with you as a company, as a product, as a service at various touch points or moments of truth, as some sort of marketers would say. So a Naukri site is not just about the number of jobs on the site. Of course, that's very important. It's about the overall experience with the website. So when you sort of do a search on, when you sort of visit Naukri, do the aesthetics appeal to you? Does the site load fast? Does it have a lot of jobs for you? When you apply for a job through Naukri, do you get calls from companies? When you put your resume up, do you hear from companies? When you get a call from a Naukri representative, is it a good experience? So I think all these things also matter. So it's important for brands, if they want to stay relevant, to keep innovating along and to keep sort of adapting along every dimension of the service or product as you go along. I think this is something which we believe in, and which is why we put in a lot of effort into each of these areas. So we have very strong, big product team. We've scaled it up over time. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, maybe we had 20 people working in product development. Now we have over 200 people working in product development. Because we believe that we have to still stay core to our original problem. You mentioned networking sites, you mentioned social media. We can't become a social media platform overnight, right? And these things keep happening in the internet space. You keep getting disrupted. So, but yes, what we can do is keep innovating on our platform, keep true to our promise, our core promise, that we will have the maximum jobs, we will have all the jobs, we will have jobs for everybody, right? And keep adapting to the situation as things change. Like I said, 18 years ago, there was no Google. 10 years ago, there was no Facebook. 5 years ago, there were no smartphones, right? So all these things have changed over a period of time, and we've adapted.
It's almost that kind of a tonality which is not trying to say that, hey, check me out. So I think that's one of the things which hopefully making us relevant. The other thing we learned is that now in terms of product design, the level of complexity with which most brands were sort of operating in the last 10, 15, 20 years, I think they've grown out of that also. So higher level of complexity in the solution, in the product, in the experience, I think was needed, even within the QSR marketplace. That was the second thing. And the third thing was to, I think, acknowledge their life and, acknowledge their life truths and, sort of acknowledge that there's no solution to the problems that youth face. We call it sort of celebrating irony internally. So celebrate the irony in their lives. So across product, communication, and I think core idea itself, we had to acknowledge that we will have to build the brand very differently because we are very sharply focused on the youth.
It's a power bank from our gift partner, CMO Access.